The creamy decadence of double cream bliss from Clover. Yogurt has never been so irresistible.
Made with love by Clover.
Listen, let me tell you, everybody, maybe you want to know how to turn a tin of fish into a scrumptious dinner. Well, transform this cupboard staple into tasty fish frikkadels and serve them with an indulgently creamy tomato Clover Bliss yogurt sauce. And who better than Jenny Morris to show us exactly how to make it. Jenny Morris, good morning.
And a very good morning to you, young lady.
You've been hyping up fish frikkadels while we were in the beauty room already, getting our makeup, and you're like, I can't wait for you to try this, so I'm all ears.
Okay, well, it's something I actually grew up with. Coming from Durban, I always had fresh fish. But I like tin fish because it's convenient, it's nutrient dense, it's a lovely source of protein. And fish cakes are just such a nice thing, you know, it's portable food, it's lovely with mash, and it's economical. So I used to love having like a pilchard chutney or a pilchard like curry on pup, lovely soft pup. Was one of my favorite after-school meals. So I've got some onions in here, and some.
You used what fish did you use for that?
Oh, well, I used to use pilchards, but this fish we're using today is middle cut.
Middle cut. Got it.
So it's like that mackerel, which is really, really nice, and it's nice and dense, and it doesn't have any flavouring. So there's no tomato sauce. Everything you put in it is what it's going to be.
You're going to season it.
Yes, I haven't put a lot of chili in here because I know you like it hot, but you don't want to like stand upside down in the shower hot. So and some lovely fresh lemon juice, which just lightens it beautifully. If you like, you could add the zest as well to it. Always need something to bind it. So an egg, you can beat the egg beforehand, but because we're adding the bread, this is going to get a good old mix anyway. So
here's the thing, growing up as well, I had one duty when it came to fish frikkadel. So Monday night was usually fish frikkadel night, or just frikkadel night.
Yes.
And I would have to go over to the neighbors and ask Auntie Joni. I remember Auntie Joni, she lived right opposite us. She's no longer with us anymore.
Yes.
But my duty was to ask Auntie Joni, my auntie asked if you don't have old bread for the frikkadel.
Yes.
So there we go.
Yes.
So what happens if you, and I never asked my aunt this, but what happens if you don't have stale bread?
well, you can use boiled potato, mashed potato with it.
That's
but
obviously the binding agent,
it's a binding, yes. But what's nice about the bread is what happens with the bread, you get to, look here, you just soak it in some milk, and you get to just, I personally wouldn't just use my hands are clean, by the way. You do know we're very well sterilized in this place, otherwise we get whacked. But look at that, you see how it breaks it up.
Apart.
And also it stretches the meal. You know, it makes it go that little bit further.
If one person knows you're making frikkadel, the entire family's coming over. So you know it has to stretch for everybody.
It has to go for everybody. And you know, I made fish frikkadels for Al Gore, Vice President Al Gore and Thabo Mbeki.
What? So these are presidential frikkadels,
No,
not
just
anyone,
people.
not basics.
They're just people. And you know, the thing was, I was tasked to do an African menu. And the thing is, I got really intimidated. I know the African food I grew up with, matambo curry and mfino and madumbis and sampan beans and all that delicious stuff. The problem is, I thought,
What do I cook?
people are going to say, what do I know about African food? I am an African.
Yeah.
I'm going to just fry these because I've made them up front. This needs a chance to just soak and just suck up. Yeah, and you can even put it in a little bit of flour if you want to, but I'm going straight into the pan. And I watched Al Gore loving these little fish cakes. Anyway, I found a local African restaurant and they were serving smoked salmon. And I thought, okay, that's delicious, but I don't think that's as traditional.
As possible.
So I gave him pilchard fish cakes, and I watched them eating. I mean, I gave them upens, I gave them a lovely African menu.
And I picture you watching them eat that and just enjoying that last bit, and they're like,
I
that's
watched every
lekker.
moment because there was this beautiful zebra screen there, and I could have gone to the table, but I had my chef jacket. I wasn't going to change every 2 minutes. And they ate everything. Al Gore's advisor, Reverend Shokani, was with Al Gore, with Thabo Mbeki, but they'd just come from Japan. And Al Gore's advisor wasn't eating anything because I made like tripe.
Oh,
and he'd eaten so many strange things in Japan.
Like
and he said, I can't do it.
But I'm sure he's probably seeing you make this now. He's realizing, I miss this food. I want to SMS and go onto the website and go onto expressoshow.com to get this recipe.
We can get
I'm
it.
going to start the
The
tomato
sauce.
sauce as well. So we're going to use expressoshow.com is where you can find it, like I said. So a cup of yogurt, the creamy bliss going in,
got
and this is
some
going to
nice,
make our dip. But I would actually just put it on the side as well as like a little chutney.
Yep.
And then we have sun-dried tomato
Which
paste.
gives it beautiful depth. It's delicious.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just going to show that. And then we have some,
Parsley or
Parsley.
cilantro or dhania, you can use either.
and then a spoon of
Sweet
sweet chili sauce. It's just going to blend so nicely together. And then this is the base of that sauce.
And you go mixy, mixy, mix. Look how quick these are just beautiful and golden. If you wanted to, you could even crumb them, but I mean, why? Why even do that, you know?
Monday
They're just
dinner
delicious as
is
they are.
served. And like you said, of course, you can serve it with some mash, some rice,
Anything.
some pap, anything.
Anything you want.
Easy peasy.
Anything you want. It's honestly, tinned fish, eat the bones, full of calcium, mash it in. Come, I'm going to feed you now.
You are going to feed me, but while I get to all of that,
Yes.
here is a quick recap for everybody. I'm going to go eat.
Made with love by Clover.